The whole classroom went silent the second Miss Kira James stepped through the door, her heels clicking sharply against the cold floor like tiny warnings. She wore a deep emerald dress that rippled like moving water, confidence sewn into every line of it. Yet behind that calm, practiced smile, she could already feel the day sinking heavy into her chest. Eastbrook High was never gentle, especially to a new teacher trying to prove she belonged. For weeks now, she'd endured smirks tossed like daggers, low whispers that slithered through the room, and threats scribbled in crooked chalk across her board. But today something felt off. Something was shifting in the air. It started with a loud, ugly laugh from the back corner. *3, the same trio every teacher feared. Jackson, Trent, and Ryder had made it their mission to break her spirit. They weren't just class clowns, they were fearless, reckless, convinced the rules didn't apply to them. The rest of the students stared at their desks, pretending nothing was happening, too nervous to take a side. Kira had tried everything. Detentions, warnings, calls to parents, even multiple trips to the principal's office. Nothing worked. She used to believe kindness could soften even the coldest hearts. But betrayal cuts the deepest when you've already given everything. So, when she turned her back to write on the board, she didn't expect danger. Then came the soft snip of scissors, followed by a ripple of cruel laughter. She spun around, and the class collectively gasped. Her dress hung oddly, sliced along the side. The loose fabric fluttered helplessly, like a wounded flag caught in the wind. A long gash revealed her leg. Shocked breaths spread through the room. Phones lifted instantly. Some students stared at their desks in shame. Others couldn't hold back their snickers. Kira stood completely still, not frozen by fear, but by a cold, steady fury. Not the kind that explodes, but the kind that burns slow and sharp. The principal had ignored every warning, every plea she'd made. And now, as tears threatened to rise, something inside her hardened into steel. "Which one of you did it?" she asked quietly, her voice low like a storm gathering on the horizon. Jackson rose from his chair with a smug smile. "Who cares? It's just a dress. Maybe don't wear thrift or charity clothes to school." The room went painfully still. Kira glanced down at the torn fabric, then lifted her eyes again. "You think this embarrasses me?" she said, stepping toward him. "It doesn't. You know what is embarrassing. That you need an audience just to feel powerful. The boy's grin faltered. Something in her unwavering made Ryder shift uncomfortably in his seat. Then came the final *. Jackson slid a small pocket blade from his jacket, the kind that folded neatly into his palm. He spun it between his fingers, careless and cocky, certain he was untouchable, certain she would back down. "You gonna cry now, or you wanna fight?" he taunted. The class erupted in another sharp gasp. Miss Kira didn't even blink. She stepped forward and then lightning struck. No one saw it coming. With one smooth motion, Kira seized his wrist, twisted hard, and knocked the blade free in seconds. Before a single student could react, she swept his leg clean out from under him, sending him crashing to the floor with a heavy thud. Jackson groaned. Stunned, the blade skittering across the tiles. Trent bolted toward her next, but she pivoted aside, ducked low, and drove her palm into his stomach. He folded instantly, collapsing onto a desk with a gasp. Ryder tried to retreat, but fear buckled his knees. A dark stain spread down his pants. The room went dead silent, breathless, shocked. Asterisk, self-defense, training, she said calmly, smoothing her torn dress like nothing had happened. 15 years. Black belt. No one dared make a sound now. Security rushed in minutes later. The boys were taken away, first crying, then begging, then finally silent as the reality of consequences closed around them. Later, in the teacher's lounge, the principal reappeared, awkwardly offering an apology. But Kira wasn't interested in apologies. She wanted real change.